Hi everybody, it's Claudia from Create with Claudia. Happy New Year. Today we're going to do something fun. I'm going to do a year 2021 roundup of all the projects I did, and I'm really excited to bring them all to you. I'll be showing you all of the projects I did this past year, month by month, so you get an idea of what I did. And in the description of the video will be links to all of the tutorials, and I'm pretty sure almost all of them have YouTube tutorials. There might be one or two that just have a blog post, but I'm like 99% sure they all have a video tutorial. So stick around. I can't wait to show you what I did. So January was a huge month for me. Number one, the most exciting thing that happened to me, even so far that I've been doing since I've been blogging, Island Batik chose me as one of their 24 ambassadors for 2021. What an honor that was, and how much fun I had doing all of the projects. The things they sent me were incredible. But first and foremost, I definitely want to thank Island Batik and all of the sponsors for providing us with so many goodies. AccuQuilt, I got an AccuQuilt Go machine. Aurifil thread, they sent us so much thread, I'm still using some of it. Schmetz Needles, I love my Schmetz Needles, and they sent us 3 packs of them last year. Hobbs Batting, wow, what can I say? They sent us pack after pack of different types of batting to try out, and they were all wonderful. Patterns by Annie sent us a bag pattern. That was actually one of the projects that you'll see. And also Deb Tucker's Studio 180 that sent us a really nice ruler to use. So there's a project in there by them as well. So I've got this big stack to go through, so let's stop messing around and get started. The first thing is January. In January was the first Island Batik project, and I made placemats. What they did is every month they gave us a challenge, and we had some parameters that we needed to follow. And again, January was placemats. So I came up with these purple and gray ones. I just fell in love with the purples they sent me. And the gray, their solids are gorgeous. If you like solid fabrics, the Island Batik solids are really nice to work with. They have a really nice hand. And they come in lots of different colors. The next thing I did was something I did throughout the year, and it was a quilt-along, a mystery quilt-along. That I have a Facebook group. It was lots of fun. This past year was called Stars of the Prairie, and the first block was in January. And here it is. These are my tester. Lots of purple going on in January. I'm not sure why. Was a little mosaic block, 6.5 inches. So I have a tutorial for that as well. Next up, of course, is February, and what can you say about February? Valentine's Day, so you got to have a little bit of pink in there. The first thing I did, it's called Stacked Hearts, and it is also a free pattern. Just a very fun little make. Here you go. You can see it. It's very easy, very fun, and it's just for your favorite sweetheart or favorite person, you can make it really quickly. Next up was the next block for my quilt along, and again, all of these patterns are on my YouTube channel. This is a square and a square, or the economy block. Easy block. This one measured, I think it was a 12.5 inch block. The other one was, the mosaic was 6.5 inch, and I'm pretty sure this was either 9.5 or maybe it's 9.5. I can't remember. I have to go back and check. But anyway, you can go check, and it's just a real fun, easy block to make. The next February project I don't have anymore. I actually donated it to a senior center for one of their auctions. It's called Pleiades. It was an Island Batik project, and they wanted us to make a project with that Starry Night of the blue fabric, all those different gorgeous blues. And that's what I came up with. But you'll find in a lot of my video tutorials for Island Batik projects, I also like to add a little bonus project. And I loved that sort of 3D effect of the star that you can see in the quilt. I have a picture up there on the screen for you. So I decided to do just a little mini, and it's again a free pattern. Here you go. Here's one option. It's called just the 3D Friendship Star. March came in, and the third block in my quilt along was this Greek cross, and this is up here. We did 11 blocks. This was probably one of my top 2, maybe top 3 blocks that we did. Just love the way that turns out. It's just a really nice pattern, and that again is the Greek cross. Next up in March was the challenge for Island Batik was Scrappy, and since I had used all those blue fabrics in February, they sent me a lot of blues. Well, I went with blue, and I This is probably one of my top 3 projects of the year. If you watch my videos, you know I love scrappy projects. So I came up with this ombre quilt. It's called Roquefort. Just a little humor there, a little bit of subtle humor there because of the cheese, because it looks like blue cheese. I'm going to unfold it, but I'll also show you a full picture. I know in my studio I have a little, my space is a little cramped, so it's harder to see. But this isn't going anywhere. I love this quilt. Whoops. You can sort of see it. Step back a little bit. Like I said, it's easier to see on the picture. But this is a nice big, this is like a double-sized quilt, and just love all those blues. And then to really make them pop, I used Island Batik's black solids. Now, to go along with the bill quilt, like I said, I always like to have a little freebie tutorial along with it. I made these little mini ombre, they're called ombre quilt trips. This is the smaller one. I gave you 2 versions in my pattern, which is on YouTube, as well as I believe there's a downloadable PDF. And then a larger one on the wall is in the same sort of blues. It mimics that. March also brought along a new project for me, and I was really excited to start this, and I am continuing this in 2022. So I hope you'll subscribe to my channel so you can see all the videos. I do something called Working Our Scraps Off. It's a YouTube series I do. Every month I give you a free project using only my scraps. I have scrap bins that keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I wanted to come up with something fun as a fun way to use them. Unfortunately, I can't find the runner right now. It must be in my box of Easter decor or something like that. So I have a picture up for you on the screen. But that was our very first project, was this fun and easy scrappy Easter table runner. April rolled around, and we're still going on that quilt along, the mystery quilt along. This was a pinwheel sawtooth star. Nice fun block. I like that block. For my Island Batik project, I did something on the wall, and I love this one. It's fun, and it's totally out of my wheelhouse, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about being an ambassador in 2021 is I don't do a lot of applique, but I do some. So this is called Bubble Tea. And this was my April project, and you can see it on the wall behind me. I like to keep it just bright and fun and poppy. I really love that color pop. So along with that, of course, I had to make a couple of minis, my mini bubble pops. And again, that free pattern's over. You'll find the link to that. This is really fun, just little table toppers, a little wall hanging if you just have a small space, called Bubble Pop. Very easy to make, and I made it all with scraps. Gorgeous. And then here's a different version. I'll hold them both up. That way you can see them. The next project up in April was the next Working Our Scraps Off project. And this one is called a Scrappy Rainbow. You will find, I've mentioned it before, how much I love scrappy projects. And this is no exception. And these are all just squares, and they make a scrappy rainbow. So it's just a matter of pulling out colors from all those bins. I have mine organized by color, and then coming up with a pattern. So that is lots of fun little table topper or wall hanging, and very easy to do. You just need to stay organized with your colors. Okay, so May rolled around, and I did another block for my quilt along, my mystery quilt. This is a tried and true, everybody knows it. I forgot to mention these bigger blocks are all 18.5 inches. So the instructions I give you in my tutorials are all for 18.5 inch blocks, which is kind of nice because you can make pillows out of them or wall hanging. You don't have to make, you know, the whole quilt. So this is just a big Ohio star. Lots of fun and very easy to make. May was also my next blog hop challenge. We had 4 blog hops in the year for Island Batik, and I was given the fabric Holly Holiday. Gorgeous, gorgeous, rich tones of greens, like forest greens and reds and golds. And I mentioned it in a couple of my videos, and I'll show you this in a second. I'm showing you the whole quilt on the screen. Gold is not always a color palette I use, as browns and golds. And I fell in love with those golds. The honey, the color of it's like honey. It's just beautiful. And they gave you, I think it was 5 different fabrics in that line. But let me show you the whole quilt. And again, I know you can't see the whole thing because I am space challenged down here. There you can see a little bit of it. There you go. That's just a quick snap of it, but like I said, I'm putting the picture up there. You can see the whole thing in all its glory. This was a lot of fun, and for this one I used the AccuQuilt cutter. I bought a diamond-shaped die, so this is all diamonds to make my quilt. And along with that, like I said, I love doing those little freebie projects. I made some table runners, placemats with all of the scraps. And these are called my geometric holiday placemats. You can see I used up all of that gold, so I had no gold for my placemats. That gold just really spoke to me. I don't know if you ever have a fabric like that. But here's my, geometric holiday placemat. May also was the next Working Our Scraps Off project, and because May, it gets into those sort of patriotic holidays, and lots of people, I like patriotic all year round, red, white, and blue. I just made a little snowball table topper. Very easy, very fun to make. So warmer weather was starting to roll around, and so June came up, and here is my next quilt block for my mystery quilt, my Stars of the Prairie mystery quilt. This is called a flying pinwheel. Lots of fun, very easy. The next thing was an AccuQuilt project from Island Batik. I again have that quilt up on the screen because I donated that to the nursing home where my father was for a number of years. For this project, AccuQuilt sent us, I got Hattie's Choice die, and so that's what primarily is in this, the quilt that you see on the screen. And then as my bonus project, I did a little octagonal table topper. I wanted to change it up a little bit, and I highlighted that block in the center. You can see all the scraps, and then I just did sort of improv quilting or scrapping around it. I just really wanted that center part to shine. So, last but not least, in June was my Working Our Scraps Off, and that month I did a very easy dollar store decoupage. It has string stuck to it. Basically, I show you how to use some scrap. These are all scrap fabrics and a little dollar store container, and they make really pretty, if you put one of those non-flammable battery-operated lights in it, they make really pretty votives, and they sort of glow, and the fabric takes on a whole different sort of look to it. All right, we're halfway through the year, and my pile is getting lower, although it's not quite even, so see how much more I have to do. July's 18.5-inch block for Stars of the Prairie Quilt Along was the Star in a Star. July's Island Batik Challenge was all about the holidays, and it was called Never Too Early. So what I did is I took scraps from, if you recall, the Holly Holiday fabric line, and I made some really fun little projects. I felt like doing something different. I made these little mini ornaments, and it again is a free pattern over on my YouTube channel and on my website. I have 4 different patterns. I have sort of a chevron, did a friendship star, log cabin. That log cabin is really teeny tiny. It's fun to make, but it's pretty small. And let's see, the bear's paw. So I came up with these fun little ornaments. I made 2 different bear's paws. They're easy to make, and then I still had some tester blocks from when I was doing all of these, and I just decided to make up some quick coasters. Perfect for the holidays. They look cute on a side table. July was also another Working Our Scraps Off, and this one was really one of my most successful ones so far. It's called a Disappearing Rail Fence Quilt Block. Here you go. This is what the individual block looks like. Very easy to do. It looks sort of tricky. It's very easy to do. So if you like interesting scrappy quilt blocks, this is definitely a winner. And I'm going to show you the quilt I made with it. I used sort of rainbow scraps, and this again is all from my scrap bins. And I'm going to show you a full picture on the screen because it's really big, and I know you can't see the whole thing. Here we go. Hopefully you can see a little bit. The picture will show you better. This is near and dear to my heart. I really love the way this turned out. There you can see just a little bit. I've had a couple people ask if this quilt is for sale. Unfortunately, it is not. This is one of my keepers. One of the things I'm going to do in 2022 is start an Etsy shop where I will be selling some of my sample quilts and some other things, but not this one. Sorry. August was a busy month for me. It was also a big life-changing month for me. Our daughter graduated high school back in May, and she went off to college. So my husband and I are now empty nesters. She's back for Christmas break, but then she's heading back to college in a couple weeks. So I kept myself busy after she was gone because I was a little sad. I sort of missed her. And the first thing we did was, of course, the next block in the Stars of the Prairie mystery quilt. And that is called the Friendship Ribbon. I really like that one too. The other thing I did, the Island Batik project I did in August, was sponsored this month by Deb Tucker's Studio 180 Design. And they sent all of the ambassadors different rulers, some tools they could use. And I got the corner beam ruler and just had loads of fun. And this was another blog hop. And this was a lot of fun. We went out to Southern California, which is a totally different place. I live on the East Coast. It was so hot, but so beautiful and sunny. So I took this quilt with me. My family thought I was crazy. And I have a few shots showing of when we took it on vacation. I love it. Just reminds me of the water out there. And that's all using that corner beam tool. Let me show you another angle. Just lots of fun with that gorgeous fabric line. And then with the remains, this has a lot of, the corner beam, you end up getting a lot of trimmings from it. So I made a little bonus mini, which I love, like static electricity. That was just lots of fun to make. And that was just a little bonus project. I don't have a pattern for either one of these, but I tell you a little bit about it on my YouTube channel. All right, so this pile's getting pretty high. I have one more thing in August, and I'm going to swap piles because I'm going to be covered up pretty soon. The last thing I did in August was my next Working Our Scraps Off, and this was very easy, no seams, quilt as you go, coasters or fabric, basically. I created little bits of fabric. Okay, so you can see I took a little bit of a break. I needed to switch my piles over. So here we go. This is September. September was for the Stars of the Prairie quilt along. I did a really interesting one. Block I'd never done before. It's called Rolling Squares. This turned out really nice. I really like the way this ended up looking. I'm thinking this would make a really pretty scrap quilt. So again, Rolling Squares. Then I did a project. This month's Island Batik was sponsored by Bags by Annie, Patterns by Annie, and I did their switchback backpack, and the fabric I chose was Tamarini's line. I chose about I think it was 5 different fabrics from her line. Now you'll note I don't have the bag with me. That went with my daughter to college, where I think she uses it around campus. It's a little backpack that she uses. I really love the way that turned out. I was tempted to keep that, but I had said she helped me pick out what fabric she liked, and so yeah, it went with her. But that's okay. I can make myself another one. So with the remnants, I made a little freebie pattern, and these are just little mug rugs with the remnants of that Tamarini's fabric. Last but not least was my Working Our Scraps Off project for September, and this was sort of an autumnal browns, and it looks like it looks like a watercolor, an ombre effect. Makes a great table runner, or placemat. I always confuse those two. I don't know why. If you look at all my videos, almost every single time I do a placemat or a table runner, I intermix the two words. But this was that, a very easy, small little 1-inch, I believe they were cut to 1.5 inch. I can't remember exactly, but very easy, fun make. Not much more, about 3 more months to go. October brought me in my Stars of the Prairie quilt along Blueberry Pie, and this is definitely one of my top 3 favorites. In October, our challenge was sponsored by Aurifil, and we were supposed to do some thread painting, and it was based on their color builders for their endangered species. I was really nervous about this challenge. I was nervous about a couple of them. The bag, I've never made a bag before, and I think that turned out pretty good. This was another one, but it was so liberating, and what I ended up doing was a scrap fabric collage. This project is so near and dear to my heart. I named him Clyde. I got the blues that they had for the blue-throated macaw, which is an endangered bird. Absolutely love him, and I describe my whole process in my video. It's just layer upon layers of fabrics and cut in different shapes, and then I use their beautiful Aurifil thread to quilt it all down and add a little texture and dimension to it. So that was Clyde, and so my little freebie then was I actually show you how to make, not necessarily Clyde, but how to make a scrap fabric collage. It's very easy. I just made my working our scraps off for October was Spooky Eyes, just an easy little make. It looks like Spooky Eyes, great for Halloween. There you go, there's my Spooky Eyes. November brought us the Star in the Star. This was the last quilt block in my Stars of the Prairie quilt along. And I think I said Star in a Star. It's actually Diamond in a Star block. Nice big bold block. I'm thinking I'm going to make a couple throw pillows with some of these big leftover tester blocks that I did. And then this month was our final blog hop of the year. And the challenge was to make a Storm at Sea quilt. So I looked up the block. I decided on, it's a pretty standard pattern. You see it a lot out there. I love that AccuQuilt machine, and actually what I did was, well, I'll show you the block second. What I'll do is I'll show you my quilt first. I really love that circular shape in the Storm at Sea block, and I really wanted to highlight that. So this may not look like all of the traditional Storm at Seas, which are, by the way, gorgeous. But I felt like doing something a little bit different. It's called Night Navigator, and reminds me a little bit of Compasses at Night at the beach. I got the fabric line, just beautiful, all blues and whites and things like that. So here it is again. You'll see a bigger picture, a better picture up online. Those are all the line Constellations, which came out last year from Island Batik. Just all the blues. I love blues. Blue's my favorite color. Here's another look at it. This is another quilt near and dear to my heart. You know, it's funny, as a quilter, they almost all become near and dear to your heart. It's kind of hard to part with them, but the nice thing is I used that AccuQuilt Go for my block, and so my bonus tutorial for this month is actually how to show you, for November, was how to show you how to make a Storm at Sea block using AccuQuilt. Now they do have a Storm at Sea die. I did not have that, so I did a combination of the Go Cube that they had given me and a triangle block that I had purchased. And it just makes, I love this block. I'm going to have to make another quilt. It's a big 16.5-inch block, so it's a nice large size. Alrighty, so December is here. Another one that I'm going to have to show you a picture of on the screen. This was my final, what we did in my Stars of the Prairie mystery quilt was we put it all together. It was loads of fun. I love the way it turned out, and I do have a Facebook group. You should see all of the versions that people make. It's so much fun seeing all the different colors people make. They are all gorgeous. So if you're interested, you can join my group over there on Facebook. So the next thing in December was my Island Batik project. It was English paper piecing. That was the challenge. And I was very nervous about this. I've never done English paper piecing, but I went ahead and gave it a try. I went to EQ8 and printed out one of their circular blocks that I thought might not be too hard to do. I didn't want to go with the traditional hexagon shape. So I did that. It took me a couple months to piece all the flowers. I went with their gorgeous sort of fall tones of fabrics they have. I had a lot of those in my scrap box. And this is what I came up with. And again, you'll see it up on screen. It's a little too big for this. I really love the way it turned out. It's a real fall color. It's called Mum's the Word, like Mum's the flower. I just thought, I like little funny names sometimes for my quilts, and I do name all my quilts. I'm sure some of you do too. So there are two more things in December. The first one was sort of a testimonial or a confessional. I am absolutely in love with all the quilt coats out there, so I decided to try to do my own. It did not turn out as expected, so I actually did a blog post on 10 things I learned when making my first and probably last quilt coat. I don't sew close, so that's going to give you a little bit of an idea. But I do want to show it to you because I really love the look of it. I used all Island Batik strips, all those gorgeous autumn tones. Can you tell I love those autumn tones too? Here's the back. There's the back. Yeah, it didn't, you'll note it doesn't have sleeves. It was supposed to have sleeves. And my video goes into that whole process. So it's kind of funny and gives you an idea of what to expect if you want to make a quilt coat. And last but not least was my last Working Our Scraps Off of 2021. This has been such a fun series for me. And I already have ideas for 2022. I can't wait to show them to you. I came up with a different block. This one, excuse me, there's something in my eye. It's called Peppermint Sticks, but you can do it in any color. This, I gave it to you in 2 versions. Here's a quilt made of the smaller version. Just a fun little table topper. The bigger version, it's very easy to make and a great scrap buster. In fact, I think this might be my scrap busting quilt of 2022. I like every year to make a scrap busting quilt with just scraps, and usually pretty big one like a queen or a double. So I think this might be the block I'm going to use. So there you have it. There are all of my projects for 2021. Thank you again to Island Batik for choosing me as an ambassador. And thank you so much for watching my videos. One of my exciting milestones last year was I hit 25,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I'm just having so much fun on this journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button. I'd love it if you would. Also, let me know what project you like best. Again, all of the descriptions and most of these are free patterns. When I mentioned that they were free patterns. They are all in the description on my video. I do have a Facebook group for my quilt-alongs. I have this quilt-along and one other one. They're still up on my website, so if you like the patterns, you can go ahead and make one. And I do have a Facebook group that's rapidly growing called Working Our Scraps Off. And every month you sort of get the first look at the Working Our Scraps Off project for the month. They're all free. They're all fun little free makes. So thank you all for watching. I wish you all a very happy and a very healthy new year.